Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because what I'm about to tell you will make your blood boil. Donald Trump, the so-called master dealmaker, is eyeing Canada like it's his next bankrupt casino. And our steel shutdown is just the opening salvo in a war he started. But mark my words, Canada won't roll over without a fight. This isn't some distant geopolitical chess game. This is Trump flexing his expansionist muscles, slapping tariffs on our exports left and right, and whispering sweet nothings about making Canada the 51st state. All while our construction sites grind to a halt and our workers stare down the barrel of unemployment. But here's the truth. America doesn't want to hear. Canada's steel freeze isn't a tantrum. It's a calculated stand against a bully who's been chipping away at our sovereignty since he slithered back into the White House. We've got the military warnings rolling in, territories on high alert, and a prime minister in Mark Carney who's finally putting people first, not profits for foreign overlords. How dare Trump think he can treat Canada like his personal backyard? This steel crisis exploded just moments ago, with Canadian exporters slamming the brakes on shipments to the US. And it's no accident. It's the direct fallout from Trump's draconian tariffs and procurement rules that have been suffocating our industry since October 2025. Remember those warnings from the Canadian Steel Producers Association? They screamed that 38% of our steel heads straight to the US, fueling your bridges, high-rises, and highways. But Trump's Commerce Department ignored it all, assuming we'd blink. Well, we didn't. Now US projects from Michigan to Texas are stalling, costs are spiking 22% to 35%, and Trump's so-called domestic-first strategy is backfiring spectacularly, leaving American workers in the lurch while he plays emperor. And let's not kid ourselves. This isn't just about steel. It's Trump's expansionist playbook in action, a blatant grab for our resources under the guise of trade wars. Military analysts are sounding the alarm. With Trump's tariffs crippling our economy, he's positioning the US to swoop in and integrate our territories, from the oil-rich Alberta to the mineral-laden North. Hypothetical? Hardly. Just look at his rhetoric. Jokes about annexation that aren't funny anymore, backed by a national security strategy that treats the Western Hemisphere as America's exclusive playground. Canadian defense officials have issued internal memos warning of territorial vulnerabilities, urging heightened patrols along the border because Trump's not content with tariffs. He wants our land, our pipelines, our future. Supporters across Canada, from union halls in Ontario to farms in Saskatchewan, are rallying, chanting that we'll defend every inch of our soil, and allied nations like the UK and France are whispering support, condemning Trump's aggression as a throwback to imperial eras we'd all rather forget. Who does Trump think he is, redrawing maps like it's the 19th century? Enter Alberta's bombshell pipeline deal, a masterstroke that bypasses federal red tape and Trump's meddling, securing a 1 million barrel a day corridor straight into the US without begging for permission. Premier Danielle Smith didn't wait for Ottawa's blessing or Trump's approval. She acted, proving that when push comes to shove, provinces like Alberta will defend their economic territories tooth and nail. This isn't defiance, it's survival. For years, Trump's predecessors, and now him, have killed projects like Keystone XL, costing us over $1 billion and 2.5 million barrels a day in lost production, all while demanding our resources on the cheap. But with this new corridor, Alberta's flipping the script, locking in jobs for tens of thousands, revenue in the tens of billions, and partnerships with indigenous communities that share profits and power. Trump's expansionism? It's hitting a wall of Canadian steel, literally and figuratively. Isn't it rich how Trump preaches America first while leeching off Canadian ingenuity? Mark Carney, our Prime Minister, steps in as the voice of reason. The technocrat who knows deficits aren't destiny, but Trump's tariffs are forcing our hand. From the people's perspective, Carney's a breath of fresh air after years of mismanagement. He's slashing red tape, prioritizing workers over oligarchs, and staring down Trump's bluster with data-driven defiance. Remember, under Carney, we're tackling the productivity crisis head-on, investing in AI and machinery where the US surges ahead. But Trump's tariffs are the real culprit, hollowing out our economy while he claims victory. Canadians support Carney because he's one of us, fighting for fair trade, not capitulation. Hypothetical quotes from everyday folks ring true. Carney's got our backs, says a Toronto steelworker, while Trump's just a bully stealing our lunch. Stats back it. US steel futures spiked 18% in hours after our shutdown, construction ETFs dropped 6 to 11%, and Moody's warns of 0.4% shaved off US GDP. Trump's plan is imploding, and Canada's standing tall. Why should Canada pay the price for Trump's ego trips? The brain drain south is Trump's fault too, with our youth fleeing high taxes and stagnant wages exacerbated by his protectionism. But supporters here are fighting back, building alliances with pro-Canada voices in Europe who see Trump's moves as a threat to global stability. Military warnings aren't hyperbole. Internal reports cite expansionist risks, with Trump eyeing our critical minerals like lithium and cobalt, essential for EVs and AI, as his next prize. Canada's response? Bolster defenses, from Arctic patrols to cyber shields, because we won't let Trump foreclose on our nation like one of his failed ventures. Allies like Germany are nodding along, criticizing Trump's isolationism as short-sighted, while our people demand sovereignty. Past events echo this. The 2018 tariffs cost downstream U.S. jobs 75,000, while gaining only 8,700. History repeats, and Trump's the villain. Does Trump really believe we'll fold like a cheap suit? Alberta's pipeline isn't just pipes. It's a declaration of independence from Trump's grasp, achieved quietly while he blusters. Premier Smith's priorities, pipelines, jobs, unity, resonate with Canadians tired of federal dithering, and supporters see this as a win against expansionism. With $9 trillion in reserves, why leave it grounded for Trump's whims? Indigenous partnerships seal the deal, reducing lawsuits and building trust, a model Trump could learn from but won't. Carney backs this, negotiating from strength, not weakness, as polls show 70% of Albertans cheering the move. Trump's reaction? Rattled silence, because Alberta sidestepped his veto points, proving Canada's territories are ours to defend. How hypocritical is Trump, demanding our oil while blocking our access? The economic crisis he fueled, housing bubbles, oligopolies, immigration traps, is his tariffs doing, pushing deficits to $70 and $90 billion under Carney. But our PM's fighting back with reforms. From the people's view, Trump's a demagogue squeezing allies, while Carney's the steady hand. Data screams it. Canadian telecom prices 7 times Australia's, groceries controlled by cartels. Trump's protectionism entrenches this, but we're breaking free. Supporters rally, condemning Trump as a threat to our youth, with 250,000 surplus young men facing unrest if his expansion continues. Allies like Australia echo, stand firm Canada, in hypothetical solidarity. Isn't Trump's Trump corollary just fancy talk for bullying? Military warnings highlight border tensions, with U.S. rhetoric shifting to annexation threats. Canada's defending with increased patrols, alliances, and economic countermeasures like the steel freeze. Carney critiques Trump sharply. This isn't partnership, it's predation, rallying people against the aggressor. Past news, Keystone's cancellation, shows Trump's pattern, costing billions, but now we're countering with pipelines that bypass him. Stats: 400,000 U.S. jobs at risk from disruptions, proving his plan backfires. Why let Trump dictate our destiny when Canada's resources are our shield? Critical minerals give us leverage, offer secure access in exchange for tariff relief, but on our terms. Supporters demand this grand bargain, condemning Trump's China fears as excuses for grabs. Carney's strategy: unlock energy, smash oligopolies, integrate strategically without surrender. European support, criticizing Trump's isolation. Hypothetical worker, quote, Trump's tariffs stole my overtime. Carney's fighting for my family. Doesn't Trump realize Canada's not for sale? Alberta's corridor changes everything, stabilizing prices, funding innovation like carbon capture. Pathways Alliance aims for net zero by 2050, showing we balance environment and economy better than Trump's denialism. People praise Carney for modernizing, while Trump's stuck in the past. Data. Alberta's 4 million barrels daily, quarter through new corridor. Trump's expansion halted. How dare Trump threaten our federation with divide and conquer? Equalization payments hold us together, but his pressure risks fracture. Quebec, Alberta separatists stir, but supporters unite against him. Military preps for worst case, with allies condemning his aggression. Carney from People's Lens, hero defending sovereignty. Isn't it time to call Trump's bluff? Scenarios. Fast de-escalation if he backs off, but likely prolonged disruption hurting him more. Worst, escalation to recession. 500,000 US jobs lost. Canada defends with resolve, supporters cheering. Why does this matter to every Canadian? It's our jobs, homes, future. Trump's expansion threatens all. Stand with Carney, condemn Trump, defend territories. End of part 1. But wait, there's more to this saga that's got Trump squirming in his golden tower. Alberta's not just building a pipeline, it's erecting a fortress against his imperial dreams, and with military brass issuing stark warnings about territorial incursions, Canada's gearing up for the fight of our lives. This corridor isn't mere infrastructure. It's a lifeline that exposes Trump's hypocrisy, demanding our heavy crude for his refineries while slapping barriers on our exports. Premier Smith nailed it. We've been damaged by unbuilt pipelines, and her deal rectifies that, adding $55 billion yearly to GDP if past projects had succeeded. Trump's expansionism? It's crumbling as Alberta mobilizes crews, commits capital, and partners with First Nations, turning potential blockades into shared prosperity. Who elected Trump King of North America? Carney's administration, drawing on his Bank of Canada roots, critiques Trump's deficits. America's ballooning while he lectures us, and pushes for fiscal sanity amid the storm. From the ground up, Canadians see Carney as the anti-Trump. Analytical, people-focused, not tweet-ranting. Hypothetical from a Vancouver resident. Trump's tariffs jacked my rent. Carney's the one negotiating real deals. Stats underscore. Immigration surged 3 million since 2016, straining housing. But Trump's trade wars dilute capital, dropping productivity 30% below US levels. Allies like the EU parliamentarians voice support, slamming Trump's economic warfare as destabilizing. Does Trump sleep at night knowing he's sparking a brain drain revolution? Our educated youth flee south, but supporters here innovate, condemning his policies for suppressing wages. Military warnings tie into this. Weak economy invites expansion, so defenses ramp up in the Arctic, where Trump's eyeing minerals. Past events like Argentina's decline mirror ours under pressure, but Carney averts it with energy unlocks. Trillions in natural gas for export, if not for Trump's blocks. Isn't Trump's protectionism the real modern slavery? Exploiting worker programs he decries, while Canada's system, flawed, aims for integration. People critique Trump as exploiter-in-chief, with UN flags on his watch too. Carney reforms, supported by masses tired of oligopolies, telecom cartels charging premiums, groceries gouging 80% market share. Breaking them invites competition, lowering costs. Trump inflates. How can Trump claim security while undermining allies? His corollary excludes competitors but squeezes Canada, desperate for our uranium, oil reserves fourth globally. We defend with strategic bargains, minerals for fair trade, no Chinese miners. Supporters rally, hypothetical ally quote from France. Trump's expansion threatens democracy, Canada leads with ethics. Doesn't Trump see his tariffs boomerang? Steel shutdowns chain reaction. Texas highways paused, New York towers halted, costs billions per Associated General Contractors. Canada's military posture. Waivers petitions from US states show cracks in his plan. Carney capitalizes, building unity. Why bow to Trump's whims when our model's superior? Alberta's equity with Indigenous reduces emissions intensity. Pathways to carbon neutral. Trump's denialism contrasts. We align responsibility with realism. Data. 10 demo projects in Alberta, technology export potential. Trump's missing out. Isn't Trump's ego fracturing North America? Separatism rises from his pressure, but Canadians unite against him. Carney's good faith starting point rebuilds, condemning Trump's extraction. How long until Trump admits defeat? Scenarios favor us. Erosion hurts his voters, escalation his recession. Military signals watch. We're ready. This touches every Canadian. Fight Trump's plan, support Carney. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video interesting, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything.